Now let us learn about how to create and initialize a two-dimensional array. Let me create an array, int array, with 2 rows and 3 columns. Now I need to assign the values for the contents of this two-dimensional array. If we think about a two-dimensional array, a 2D array can be visualized as an array of several one-dimensional arrays. For instance, let us consider our same example where we have 2 rows and 3 columns each. This 2D array can be visualized as a collection of 2 1D arrays. The entire first row can be thought of as one-dimensional array, and the entire second row can be thought of as another one-dimensional array. Keeping this in mind, let us see how the initialization can proceed. If these are the values I want to initialize for my array, and if I assume that the first row is entirely one-dimensional array, a 1D array can be initialized. Inside flower brackets, I am going to assign the values of 3, 4 and 5, which are the values of the 3 different columns of the first row. Similarly, inside flower brackets, I am going to initialize 2, 4, 6 as the 3 column values of the second 1D array. This is how we initialize a one-dimensional array. Now we have thought of this 2D array as an array of 2 one-dimensional arrays. So my 2D array can be declared as an array. The contents of an array are always written inside flower brackets. So my 2D array can be initialized as an array. The first element of that array is first 1D array. The second element of that array is second 1D array. So here we are going to replace it with the contents of first 1D array and the second 1D array, resulting in here int my 2D array equals to the contents of first 1D array, comma, the contents of second 1D array. So this brings us to the first method of initializing a 2D array. Let us declare our array accordingly. In the first row, I have 3, 4, 5 inside one-dimensional array, and then the second row contents are written separately, 2, 4, 6. This is the first method of initializing a two-dimensional array. The second method is simply write all the values in one single row, that is 3, 4, 5, 2, 4, 6. With this method, you simply assign the two-dimensional array to a list of values, and the system will take care of the rest. From the declaration, the system knows that this array is going to have 2 rows of 3 columns each. So accordingly, it will assign the first 3 columns to the first row, next 3 columns to the next row. The third method is to use the for loop for initializing the contents of the array. Using for loop, I can make use of nested for loops. If you have not yet learnt about nested for loops, I insist you to go back, learn about nested for loops, and then come and watch this video. We are making use of nested for loops to initialize the contents of the array. This is the most common method used when working with two-dimensional arrays. So we are going to read row by row information from the user. First we are going to read the values of all the columns in the first row, then we are going to read all the columns in the second row, then we are going to read all the columns in the third row, and so on. Suppose we want to read the total number of rows as 2 and the number of columns as 3, and the values to be initialized as already decided is 3, 4, 5, 2, 4, 6. Let us see how the execution of the program proceeds with this method. When the program begins execution, initially I for loop gets executed. The thing about nested for loop is that for each iteration of the outer for loop, the entire for loop of j is executed. Let us take a look at what exactly it means. So here we have the value of I is 0 initially. We enter the j loop, and now the value of j is 0, column is 3, j is less than column, so we enter the scanf statement, and we read the value of a of ij. Scanf ampersand a of ij. We are going to read the value of a of 0 0 and I have initialized it to 3. So a of 0 0 is initialized to 3. Then we go back to the j loop. J is incremented by 1. We read the value of j as 4. A of 0 1 is initialized to 4. Similarly, next we go back to the j loop, increment the value of j, it becomes 2. 2 is still less than 3, hence we enter the j loop and we read the value of a of 0 2 as 5. Next we go back to the j loop, the value of j becomes 3. 3 is clearly not less than 3. 3 is not less than 3. So we quit the j loop and we go back to the I loop. Now the value of I is incremented by 1. Previously the value of I was 0. Now it became 1. In the first loop of I, we have read the first 3 columns of row number 0. Now we have gone to the second loop of I. Now the value of I is 1. I is less than number of rows, that is 2. So we enter the loop once again. Once again we are going to execute the entire j loop for all values from j equals to 0 until the value of j is less than 3. So let me just quickly go through this procedure. The value of j is 0. We scan the value of 1 0 and we initialize the array with the contents. Next the value of j becomes 1. We read the value 1 1 is set to 4. Next the value of j is incremented to 2. The value of 1 2 is initialized to 6. After this statement is executed, we go back to the j loop, increment the value of j by 3. 3 is not less than 3. This condition invalidates. So we come out of the j loop, go back to the for loop. The value of I becomes 2. 2 is not less than 2. 2 is equals to 2. It is not less than 2. Hence even the I loop is invalidated and we quit the I loop. This is how we initialize the contents of a two-dimensional array using nested for loops.